grant. Uh, I did share my, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hit the share button. All right, I've shared my screen. Can you tell me if it's, can you
There
guys
you
see it?
go. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we'll give a brief kind of overview of the grant for, I know probably many of you, if not at least some of you, this is pretty familiar already. So I'll try and keep it brief. You can interrupt at any time if you have any questions. Um, Besides me, hold on. Okay, there we go. Uh, I also, and I don't know if Pam or Denise are on this. I was looking through the attendance. I did not see their names, but it's possible Pam and Denise are with us from FEMA Go.
Hi, Mike. I'm
It's
on.
okay, good. All right, sorry. Thank you, Pam. So possibly they can handle questions that I can't, but they're here also to support you through this process. So as many of you know, the purpose of this grant it is in accordance with the Federal Fire Prevention and Control Act of 74. The grant was written into place into this piece of legislation to provide direct delivery of courses in the states, distribute manuals, guides, and other course materials, and allow states to use the monies to supplement their training. The objective is obviously to provide direct training assistance to the states to support associated marketing administrative costs and to promote the professional development of the fire and emergency response community and to support state and local training organizations in fulfilling their obligations to career and volunteer fire emergency services. So each state has their own organization as determined by the governor. Only one award is made to each state, and each state training entity will have their own unique entity identifier, their UEI number. In previous years, we've had up to 36 states. In my tenure here with the grant, we've had as many as 36 states. I know we lost a few last year due to a lot of the changes that were going on with the NOFO. We're hoping to see the number increase from 32 and maybe get back to 36 or maybe even more than that. So we welcome everybody to apply for this opportunity, and hope that you all do. Just to remind everybody, eligible use of the funds. So the state and local partnered sponsored fire training courses at the NFA, so O courses, state courses approved by the NFA Y courses, and then enfranchised courses at the NFA N courses. This is laid out in more detail in the NOFO, but this was just kind of a brief description of each of the three categories of eligible uses for training. I think many of you already know that, as well as kind of ineligible uses. So the grant funds cannot be used for matching funds for other grants. Construction is not allowed, and other restrictions that are described in the NOFO. Please read it or search through it or have your legal team read through it so you know kind of what you're doing. And also, too, please reach out to me if you have questions. I'll do the best I can to answer. And if I don't have the answer, we'll try and find it for you. Just on the closeout, because I think this caught a couple people off guard last year, but you have 120 days at the end of the POP. So the period of performance ends at the end of September, and you have 120 days, which by my count is January, close of business on January 27th. But you have that much time to submit for any final payment requests. FEMA Go will not allow for any payment requests that come after that. Then you'll also submit the final FFR and the final performance for progress report and the qualitative narrative, and then any other documents required by the NOFO, which usually is just sometimes grantees will submit some supporting document to what they accomplished through the year. The award is, as you all know, is $20,000. We hope that you take full advantage of this award amount. Please do not include amounts over $20,000 on the application. If it shows on your supporting documents, as long as you've identified that it's your responsibility and not FEMA, USFA, or NFA to pay any of that amount over the $20,000, that's okay. But it gets kind of complicated when we're trying to process the grants, and there's additional monies on that. And again, you're, of course, welcome. The amount is 20,000. We hope that you can take full advantage of that so that you can get the most out of this. So the application process, I know you can view the grant on grants.gov, but I understand you have to apply through FEMA Go. You also need the SAM's number or SAM's account. You need your unique entity identifier number, and also a login.gov login or account. The application process involves confirming eligibility, which we review them internally here. Make sure you include that program narrative, budget narrative, the detailed budget breakdown, and the work plan. They need to be descriptive of what you're doing, but they don't necessarily have to be super detailed in regards to depending on what your program looks like. We just need to have an understanding of how the money is going to be spent so that it's easier for us to know and don't have to go back to you for additional information. So whatever amount of detail you feel you need to have in there to make sure that we understand is helpful. We will reach out if we're missing or need more explanation. But if you apply later in the month, we will start to run out of time to get back with you and then have you get back to us. So we certainly want to support your application through this process. So reach out anytime that you do have questions. On kind of a personal note, I will be away next week for a family vacation, so I will not be available. But I'll make sure that you can always email my branch chief, Dan Newland. That information will be on my out of office reply, so he will be able to get information either to me or to Tyler Shaw, which I believe many of you probably have worked with in the past. The deadline or the application period is July 1st, which we've already, thankfully we were able to get it up and going for that. And it will close at the end of the business day on July 31st. I know I'm going pretty fast here. I don't know if there are any questions. Please just open up your mic if you do. I'll do the best I can to answer. So again, the timeline, July 1st, it opens. It's already out there. July 31st, it closes. There is no grace period. So at I believe it's 5 o'clock. So the end of the business day on the 31st, the grant application will close. And I do not have the ability to open that back up. It'll be a hard close. Probably before, but by August 28th, we'll be able to award all the grants. And then, as you all know, October 1st is when you can start spending the money if you've been approved. As many of you know, the timelines, there's a reporting for both financial reporting and performance of the activity. It happens in quarters. I think FEMA Go, I understand the system automatically cues you to submit the documentation. I know some of you are very good and very prompt. Others, like maybe the rest of us, sometimes we miss some deadlines, but your attention to that is very important so that you don't get probably additional reminders, but we can keep everything documented on our side. I know a lot of you will have internal documents that you use to track performance, activities that you're using the monies for. Please, if you can, and I can email this out to you, a blank copy, include this also. This helps me in my tracking. I appreciate the detail of some of the documentation that you provide. Sometimes it can be hard to understand or hard for me to weed out exactly kind of what took place. This gives me a quick little snapshot of it. You only need to fill in the areas that are in yellow. So it can be pretty easy, pretty quick, I should say. Not a heavy lift at all to fill this up in and include it also with your paperwork. I now am doing the review of your reimbursements. Please include enough detail that I understand how the money was spent so I don't have to come back to you, and that allows me to be able to get that pushed through the system quicker for you. So as much detail as you think I need to have. If not, I will come back to you and ask for additional information. I know some of you have had that experience with me through this cycle. This is new, and it's a little, we've not had any specific training on it. And I know and Pam is on this call. I know I've had to reach out to Pam to make sure that I'm doing this with the with good integrity and not also overburden you with additional requests for information. Amendments. So I know a lot of you, or not several of you over the years have put in for amendments. Most of the time they seem to be just for an extension of the period of performance. Just make sure when you're submitting, and I most of the time you guys do this, and I know the shutdowns have given probably more cost for these amendments than other kind of situations. Just include enough information that I can make that really a quick decision for you and get you being able to move forward with your plans. And I think as all of you know, when we do shut down or when we have shut down, my hands are tied. The system is shut down too. You guys, we're all kind of dead in the water, I guess. So we'll get you back up and going as soon as we can, as soon as we open back up. But yeah, if you're with the amendments, just include enough documentation, enough detail so I know what's going on, and it'll be easy to justify it above my level, and we'll get you moving again. Probably talk too fast on that. I know that's a lot of detail, but again, I know a lot of you have familiarity with this already. That is really the end of the information that I have to present on today. But I'm open to questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer them.
Mike, this is Patty Metcalf with Fire Service Training in Oklahoma. Could you give me the dates after the July dates again?
Yeah, let me these dates.
The dates like when after it'll go into effect and when it
Oops.
will be available and things like that. Like there was
So
an August.
this slide or
I'm
this
sorry,
slide.
I don't have the slide up. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the application period, open date, close date, the grant award date, those dates.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So we opened up on July 1st. The grant closes on the 31st. So pretty much the month of July is what you have as far as time frame to apply. So close of business on the 31st, the grant closes and it's a hard close. And then August 28th, I have the goal of doing this before then. Once all the applications are in, I'm reviewing them. And actually, a team of us will be reviewing them in-house as they come in. We will just wait until the application period is closed to approve the awarding, but we will have that no later than August 28th. And then October 1st begins the beginning of the fiscal year for the government. So that's when the money would be available for you.
Okay, that's what I had, but I just wanted to double check.
No, that's great. It's a good question.
Mike, this is Eric's.
Yes.
Yeah. Folks, a few things that I'll give you some things to think about. And again, thanks, Mike, and our GPD partners for setting up the presentation. And the one later this week will be the same. But a few things that we've run into, and I'll just be straight up with all of you. When you've had changes in staff and changes in leadership, at times agencies have forgotten that they have the state fire training grant. And we have run into situations where people come into new roles, and we understand that. We know your environment. But then you've tried to come back and recoup grant dollars that you expended for like the previous year, and in some cases, even the year before that. We have done what we can, but we really need to close out these grants in a timely manner because there's a lot of eyes on the use of federal funds. So again, the work that you're doing, always in alignment with what the vision of the state fire training grants was, but we need to close out the books at the end of the grant period. So, a week or a month we could probably work with, but in cases where you've inherited, in some cases, situations where you've put out money, but you never knew you had it there because you weren't in the role. We just can't go back and fix that 2 or 3 years later. So I just wanted to share that with you from a grant stewardship standpoint. The other thing I'll share, and Mike mentioned this early on, but the Y courses, which allows you to deliver your courses using the state fire training grants and then so. If there's a course not listed, and we'll get you a list of all the Y courses so you see, we're updating the web page, so that was affected by the lapse. But if you have a course that you don't see on the list, just shoot me an email. We'll get you a Y code for it. So that'll make it a recognized National Fire Academy class. So don't let that be a showstopper for you in applying for your grant. That is easy to do, and it takes us roughly a day to get you a course number. So I just wanted to share those two things that we've seen in the last year or so, and just see if you have any other questions so Mike can kind of tackle those. So thank you so much.
And if I can just piggyback on that too, when you do have a change in staff, if you can let us know, and I know there's probably lots of pieces, and we can be a small piece to forget sometimes, but that helps me being able to communicate out. Like I know there's a number, even from the previous fiscal year of this year, that still have yet to close out that grant. So having the right contact, and sometimes they get kicked back to me, and we have two names, so that's helpful. That probably both staff have not changed. It's still getting to somebody, but if you think about us, it'd be helpful to be able to keep our contacts up to date. Any other questions?
Marcus Oliver, Fire Coordinator for the state of Idaho. Hey, I kind of got in a little bit late, but I did join this to really, we've never received a grant or put in one. And I just wanted to really understand the dynamic or the applicability of what this grant is for. You mentioned the Y, or the other gentleman mentioned the Y class. And is this grant go through any training that the state is putting on, or is it specifically for these NFA classes?
So, and Eric, you could jump in if you like, but I would say, so when you do in-state training using the NFA courses, you can use the grant monies to pay for the fees as per the NOFO that you would incur to deliver that training. The Y courses that Eric's had talked about can be a state course that you've designed, but we need to get eyes on it to be able to give it a Y course code to be able to allow you to be able to use that for reimbursement through this grant.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll build on that, Marcus. So it's a great question. So NAFTE, North American Fire Training Directors, really worked very hard to get this grant program established through the USFA, NFA. And the vision was that it's a force multiplier to support your efforts. So a lot of you take the NFA classes, which are mostly an O course, and you deliver those in your state using your staff. Because we're very honest that you have a faster and more effective and more efficient delivery system than we do, which is that your folks know where the gaps are, you know who the people are, you have instructors that you can bring in that we don't have to fly in from across the country to do a 2-day class for, and you could do it a lot cheaper than we can. So it allows you to deliver NFA classes that we've handed off to you at the local level. The other thing that we've done is kind of that force multiplier 2.0 is created the Y course system where we will recognize the classes that you deliver with your people, but it has to be a class, right? So what Mike is saying, we have to have eyes on it. We've got over 100 classes currently that you and your partners have submitted that you can use. I will drill in just for a second on that. So, and I'll use our friends at MIFRE, I'll use our friends at Illinois, or others that have a lot of different courses that they developed over the years. They've put those in as a Y course. So think of the Y course as a library. So let's say that MIFRE has an EMS officer one that they want to use for state grants. They can do that if they choose to. They could also deliver it with their state money because it's their state money. But the library idea is that if you look at that and say, wow, I would like to deliver that class in my state, I'm going to contact Maryland Fire Rescue Institute, find out more about that class. And if I like it, then I'll ask them for permission if I could deliver it. So the library, you still own the curriculum. It's your curriculum if somebody else wants to use it. you have to get permission from that state. But it's really a force multiplier for the NFA to support your efforts, because you know the gaps better than we do, and you can do training more effectively and efficiently than we do. So that's the idea of it. And through the partnership each year, we reach about 20,000 students. So it's a really good return on investment for federal funds.
Okay, yeah, no, that's great. Makes perfect sense. I'll have to. I was unaware of the Y course component there, and what drew me to this was just the wording in the granting, because the state of Idaho, and we have a mostly volunteer firefighters, and we deliver 6 academies throughout the state, weekend academies, so 20 hours worth of training to get essential firefighter type stuff out to our rural departments. And so I need to look at that Y course to see what you guys have there that we can be able to use.
And I'll just share, Marcus, that a lot of your partners on this call have done the same thing that you're working on. So they have developed Fire Officer One, that they do maybe hybrid in-person delivery, etc. There's even Firefighter One in there, Instructor One classes in there that states have submitted that they can use the NFA funds towards. So what you're bouncing around is exactly what a lot of your partners on this call have done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions for Mike? Looking pretty quiet. We do have another session on Thursday, and like I said at the start of the meeting, this is recorded and we're going to post it to our YouTube page. So if you have other staff that you want to view it later, or join in the next session on Thursday, if you don't have the invite, you can ask me and I'll send it to you or add them to it. But you can also directly invite them to it or add them to the scheduled appointment on Thursday. Jen?
Eric's, this is Jen Johnson from Kansas. Where is the list of the Y courses?
I will put a link in the chat for you all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And keep in mind, Jen, great question. What you're going to see is the old list. There's a lot of classes you've submitted as we've been cleaning up the list. Unfortunately, the lapses have hit us. But we've got a bunch in there. So what I'll do is I'll post the link, but then what I'll do through John is I'll send him an updated list so he can send it out to the members through the listserv.
Thanks, Eric's.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, not seeing anyone. Mike, Eric's, and your teams, thanks very much for everything. Really appreciate the update. Really appreciate what you're doing. This has been a very helpful grant for the state fire training systems. And one of the common themes that I've heard over the last number of years is if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. And we know it's dropped a little bit over the last, since the inception of it. So I encourage all of you to make the most of this, put in for your full 20,000, and take full advantage of that.
Yeah, thank everyone for your time. Please, if you have a question after this meeting closes, you're not able to attend the other meetings, you don't like YouTube videos, you can email me. Email me is probably the preferred way to contact me, but you could also call and then I'll get back in touch with you and I'll do the best I can to respond to your question and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Mike, thank you. Great job. GPD, thanks, gang, from downtown for joining in. John, thank you so much for the partnership.
My pleasure.
Great job, Mike. Thank you.